Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. If you're new to the channel, consider giving a little like and a little subscribe. They help a lot. Anyway, it's been a while since my last one, and it will be a while since the next one because I'm going on holidays soon. But today I want to talk a bit about the process and how to trust the process. Inspiration's been pretty hard to come by these days. And that day certainly was a case of that. So I did this quick sketch of some kind of futuristic architecture. I fell back on architecture because in the end it was probably the lazy way out of this, where I could just assemble a bunch of blocks and pick it up from there. My only real idea is that I wanted this building on the left to have some see-through windows to help give a sense of scale to the drawing, which have been lacking from some of my previous drawings. So I really wanted that there, and that was pretty much all I had to go on. A lot of this drawing was just filling up space. You'll see as we go. Where the process comes in is that if I manage to build a set of volumes that look all right, well, then a lot of it then becomes just filling spaces with greeble details, texture, whatever you want. Throw in the line work, add more details, and throw some color on it. It sounds quite mechanical, but following these steps do allow for creative ideas to pop out, and do allow for some artistic expression that I don't necessarily have when I start the drawing. Anyway, we're gonna fast forward through this a bit. Just wanted to show you the birth of the idea. You'll see we'll go quite some way away from this as the actual drawing develops. So let's go quickly through the beginning and set up the perspective and just put a bunch of blocks left and right. Here we go. So, like I said, I want that building here on the left side. That's the only thing I'm positive about, so that's what I'm going to start with. I'll need some kind of a background, and I want something on the right hand side as well. Now this is basic composition. The idea in my mind here is to try and make a busy, cramped sort of image. My brain wasn't fully cooperating with me that day, so I thought that the busier the better. As long as I draw, I'm relaxed. So I'll try and take advantage of that. So I'm using the replication method here to I randomly picked the size of a window, and I'm gonna make it go down this building. And I don't like the way it looks at the bottom because of the somewhat weird angle I've got going on. So that's why I drew this foreground here on the bottom of the image to hide the lower part of the building on the left. This will bite me in the later because lighting this this drawing will actually be a bit of a mind job. I think I pulled it in the end, but I took a couple of shortcuts and maybe cheated a little bit. Anyway, we got that big part of the image here, the foreground on the right. We have the building on the left, and I know I want something in the background that's going to take the whole of the image, the whole height and the whole width. So from there on, I'm just, cutting blocks, making new volumes, adding, subtracting as I go. I'm not thinking at all at this point. I'm really just trying to figure out, let's put a line here. How does that look? Does it look okay? If it doesn't, put it somewhere else. If it looks okay, leave it there. I'm not thinking about the details too much. Just really just putting lines on the paper. That's all I'm doing. I've got those windows here. I'm going to redefine them a couple of times because I'm not happy on proportions. But I'm still, you know, I'm trying not to think. I'm trying to keep the pen going. Drawing as much and pretty much as quickly as I can. I'll show you the process is not that quick. We're going to go through an hour of drawing here, and I'll take a little moment to do some real time to show you just about how fast I actually draw, because this can give a false impression. I did spend quite a bit of time working in pencil for this one. Just wanted to make sure I got the perspective right. Line work will take some time later, but I think it was worth playing around with the pencil a bit this time. I like to jump into the ink as quickly as I can usually, but then again that day was a bit special. But there you go, we got those bedrooms are all going to be the same, so I'm putting a bed somewhere in there. I'll try to make it a little more human by making a bit of a mess in one or two of them, and just make sure they're not exactly the same. I'm filling up this square here by what I think will be a window, because why not, but I'm not going to do any interior on this one. Now we're defining this building here. I still have no idea what it's going to be. I don't plan to put any windows. Come to think about it, now maybe I should have, but that would have involved getting the scale right between the windows on the left here and the ones I would have put in the foreground. Maybe on my next one, if I have a brainwave, functioning brain, I will attempt that. In the meantime, this one I kept it to, you know, some kind of technical building. We're going to put a lot of cut lines and whatnots in the facade of this thing. You know, let's put a box here, throw some cables down. I'm freehanding quite a bit here, thinking I can just correct the lines later. Let's keep the ideas flowing. Again, this is very much about drawing reasonably fast, not in a hurry, just trying not to stop for too long between each line. That way it keeps the creativity going, at least in my case. I think it's proficient not to think too much. So here we go, we keep on building. I had this idea of a big bridge here. Let's make it go into a recess in the huge building in front, because why not? I considered different textures. At some point I thought I would make it just beams and you could see through it, but then the perspective was a lot of work in the end, and I kind of find an easier way out of things. Again, I didn't want to stop and have too much thinking to do. I know I'll have enough of that later with the light. Here, yeah, all of a sudden, let's put a giant cable thing wrapping around this, because why not? Which prompted me to do more cable things, again, because why not? See, that's how the creativity goes. You do a little something somewhere, and then you think, oh, okay, maybe I can do some more of these. This fits here. This works. This looks interesting. Let's just put a bit of some elements left and right. I'm still very much trying to figure out, okay, what next. So let's go here and do an indent, because reasons. I'll give a bit of volume to the top of that building. What else can we do? I know I'll end up adding quite a lot of things, honestly. I don't remember so well. But yeah, cut lines, making big panels, that's always a good way to make things look industrial. I know I'm going to change the proportions of that building on the right. I don't like the way what's under my hand here falls, so I'll end up making it wider. I think it'll look better. Putting a cube inside that indent in the back here under my ruler, because again, it's an empty space. Let's fill it. Let's put some more bridges. Not thinking too much. Here, I've got some room. Let's put some more boxes. Maybe to have different shapes. Have a circle on it that could be a vent or a how do you call those? An intake, you know, or a radiator or something. Different shapes are good. I'm trying to not only do squares and right angles, trying to break up all of this as much as I can. And here I went from having those fins under my hand here, and making it a somewhat different shape with the same purpose, like 2 vertical holes inside that thing. Here again there's some room, so let's build up something to break up that big flat surface we have. See if we can tie it up with what's in there. Completely free at this point. This is pencil, this is light work, it's easy to erase. If I don't like it, it can go away. If I like it, it can stay. Not thinking too hard about all these things. Again, things look reasonably quick here, but they did take some time to happen. I'm gonna shut up for a second, let this roll until we do a little bit of real time to show you the real speed of things. Okay, now that we've done quite a bit of building up here, this is the real operating speed at which I work, even when I try to be reasonably quick. As I said here, I'm looking to change the proportions of that building on the right. I don't like the way it's balanced, so I'm extending it a little bit. I'll probably end up doing even more of that. But there you go, you see all I've done here is carve things left and right and extrude and bevel and just put shapes. The next step is going to be to put some ink in here, because it's getting a bit confusing for my tiny little brain. And I think I've got all the volumes set in place. Everything else that's going to happen is going to happen on a plane, and won't be a problem to go straight to ink. So without further ado, let's resume a higher travel speed and go to the inking. So here we go, let's put a little frame around this and take the mighty G-Tech and start doing some line work. Again, this looks fast and easy here. A lot of lines will be wobbly, and I'm actually really not that quick. But I'm not going to do any more real time here, because I want to keep this video under 25 minutes. That'll take enough of your time. If you want to see actually some real-time stuff and hear me be very unhappy about what I'm doing, go check out the live section of the channel. Most morning these days, around 9 AM European time, I'm doing a little live session for an hour or two. Maybe you'll find it interesting. There's not going to be any for the few weeks to come, because I can't take all my studio with me, but they will resume, I think, when I come back in mid-July. And anyway, so you have the opportunity to see some real speed live commentary when I actually talk in the live section of the channel. Go take a peek. Alright, so we're gonna do this line work here. First pass, I can correct whatever mistakes I make. Again, this is where you have to trust the process again. Mistakes here at this stage are fixable, even if they're in ink. There's most of the time a way to correct whatever goes wrong. I'm not sure I'll do any big mistakes on this one, but you've probably seen it on previous videos, and you will definitely see it on later ones. So again, if you mess up at this stage, don't panic. Take a deep breath, continue drawing, and you'll find a way to fix your mistake or distract from it best you can. And most of the time, you'll realize that with a bit of an effort, you'll be the only one ever spotting that mistake. Nobody else will spend enough time looking at your drawing and deconstructing it to figure out that something is not as it should be. So here we go. We have an outline. I'm gonna do those little bedrooms, trying to not to do them all exactly the same. So covers and pillows a little different. One's gonna be a bit messier, and that's about it. I'm still adding detail as I go here. I've got all those flat surfaces that I don't want to be big empty squares. So as I go, I'm just going to start filling them up with whatever nonsense. Lines, panels, gaps, machinery, tubing, whatever. Just make them not big flat squares that are empty. So there you go. The image is starting to feel pretty busy at this stage, but we're gonna keep adding stuff because I want it really busy, and I just did not want to stop drawing that day, so I kept just adding as I went. I'm also procrastinating a little bit because I'm a bit scared of coloring this thing, mostly because I can't figure out exactly where I want to place the light source, because of the repercussion it has on the general feel of the image, and where the cast shadows are going to go. And you know my hatred for cast shadows. I will eventually learn how to do them properly. Right now I still eyeball stuff, and I have to try to put myself in situations that are not ridiculously complicated, so that I can get away with eyeballing stuff. This is one of the phases actually where fixing mistakes is hard when you mess up cast shadows, because you're using very, very dark tones, and there's not a million ways out of it. So I don't like it. I like it because it looks great when you pull it. But it is one of the parts of the drawing that scare me. Now look, now that we've put all that paper made, those thick outlines, how nice and full the drawing is starting to look. There's a reasonably nice variation in line weight. That gives a nice clean feel, I think, to this image. So I'm still adding little details left and right. Some will change, some will stay. And I'm also thinking actively at this point of, yeah, okay, where is my light source? Where are my shadows? What colors am I going to use? So I went with a warm 2 gray from Copic here. That's going to be my lightest value. I had to pick something, and it could have been purple, but that's what I went with. And now I'm committing to a light source, so the top and front of these buildings will be in the light. That is done. There's not much to do about it. I'm using a slightly darker value, knowing that I'll use probably a darker one still afterwards, and start filling up according to where the light's coming from. First I do the super easy stuff. What's facing me is bright, what's on the side here is darker. Let's just follow that rule for now. Again, that's part of the process. Trust it. push through the doubt, push through the ugly phase, and more often than not it works out. Again, with a slightly darker value, warm gray 4, doing this building here, because he won't be in the light. I think I'm going to put another layer because I want it darker than what's in the background here. There's a big break here. That's me thinking a lot. Because I'm thinking, okay, now I've committed to this. Where are my shadows gonna be? And I probably spent 10 minutes doing this. Then I decided, okay, let's relax a second, just do the windows. That's pretty easy and not stressful. So let's do that. Blending a couple of... they're actually cool grays, but they come out as blue. I like them a lot. There you go. Gives a bit of depth to this image. Wanted to not have everything in this warm gray, so I pulled out a... I believe that's a cool gray Copic. Could be a neutral. I'm not sure. Anyway, a couple of different values of that. Now I'm trying to figure out shadows, and you can tell by my hesitation that I'm afraid. But here we go. The first one's down, and that's going to be a guide for pretty much all the rest. Again, nothing has to be perfect here. It just has to be reasonably close to reality. As long as I'm reasonably close, the illusion will be good enough. And anyway, now there's really no going back. I mean, everything's set. The light's here. Just gotta deal with it. Oh, I wish I could be that fast in real life. So once more, a lot of approximations here, but we're not here to make a perfect copy of reality, just, you know, hint at it. Anyway, we're almost done and everything's there. I'm just going to throw a bit of highlight with this lovely white pencil, which is basically chalk. Might not come out great on screen, but it really looks beautiful on paper. Anyway, thank you for checking out this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so. It truly helps this little penguin. Yeah, I'll leave you here with my highlights and wish you a great time. Bye-bye.